is a presentation of Main Street Media, your source for news, sports, and information on Main Street in Middle Tennessee. And welcome into a Thursday edition of Main Street Sports. Today on the program, we'll be joined by new TSSAA Assistant Director Joe BLAIR, as he will be joining us to talk about his new position. Also, Tyler PALMATEER from Inside the Family, Main Street Preps, about TSSAA and some decisions made this week regarding baseball postseason. Plenty of chatter on that topic. Also, college football trading cards. Oh, man. Bring them back. Bring back the trading cards. First time for college football. Daily Braves chatter and more. Now to the Hall of Famer Mo Patton, who deserves his own trading card, and the Sundrop kid from Alabama, Chris Yao.
JP, you just gave me a great idea.
Okay. What's that?
Main Street Sports Today trading cards.
Oh, hello. Ding, ding, ding.
This is a good plan.
I like that.
Because I needed something else to do because I have nothing else going on in my life.
That's right.
But I do have a vacation coming up that I might want to just make some noise over there.
Sure, you'll have some time to deal with me there.
Yeah. Huh.
While you're sitting in the sand.
That's a good idea. I like it. What's up? It's Thursday. Man, I'll tell you, it's been a long week for me. I don't know. Has this week dragged on for you guys?
And it's just Thursday.
It's just Thursday, right? So the reason because I am filling in on the local radio station.
Oh, you're doing news in the morning. That's right.
Doing the news from 7:30 until 8 in the morning. That is making my days really long.
Those are long days.
And when JP is not here during the day to at least somewhat shorten it with, keeping my mind engaged,
Entertain you?
And entertain me.
Yeah, okay.
It gets really long. Like I feel like I've been here for like probably a half a day at least 12 hours. Oh. So I don't know if if it hasn't dragged on for y'all, that's great. But for me, I'm like, gosh, how is it not like, Thursday of next week yet?
Well, one thing not helping, and by the way, there's a leak in our studio. And
there were two.
Yeah,
there are none currently.
And it's based on, I think, the air conditioner. So in the meantime, until that gets fixed, we have no AC in the building.
And it's only
at least
80,
up here.
It's only 82.
Yeah, we have no AC up
on
here.
this floor where we are.
Right.
So we've got the door open. We've got a bucket in the middle of the floor. Last week, you may have seen, they had a bucket basically with a basketball.
Bucky McBucket face.
So I'm sure that does not help the time pass by when it's 75, 80 degrees inside here with no AC, right?
No, because I went downstairs earlier just to cool off.
Okay.
And so
I could feel the heat as I walked up the stairs.
it's rough.
Mm-hmm.
It's rough. There's no question.
We'll survive.
And it rises on top of everything else. Heat rises.
Yeah. And there's a lot of hot air already in this room.
No question there. Yeah, it's been a day. Anyway, I'm not sure. Clearly, we are warm, but I wonder how hot things are getting for the PGA players who have now been suspended from the PGA Tour for their involvement in the LIV is what they're actually calling it.
LIV? Or so it is LIV. It's not LIV.
Correct. They're actually calling it LIV. And it's not 54. No, that was my first thought too. The LIV Tour, and that includes Sergio Garcia, Dustin Johnson, Graham McDowell, Phil Mickelson, Louis Oosthuizen, Ian Poulter, Lee Westwood. Those are just some of the names that I recognize. There are others who you guys might know. Andy Ogletree.
No relation.
Some of those have informed the PGA Tour they have resigned their membership. Others have not resigned their membership, but are, in fact,
they're out of the shrine.
Out of the shrine. That's right. You said it. Turned in your ring and your tie tack. I mean, That's what you get. So apparently, and Rory, right?
McIlroy, yeah.
Rory McIlroy.
Rory McIlroy.
That did not sound right. For some reason, I was like, that doesn't
Well,
sound
I
right.
mean, you being from Alabama, sometimes those things are hard to pronounce.
Well, for some reason, I wanted to say McIlvain, and I guess because I've got some baseball in my, I don't know. Anyway, Rory McIlroy, gosh, I can't say it. Anyway,
That guy.
That guy.
said, anytime I've ever done something for the money, it hasn't worked out. But you know what? There's a lot of difference between 125 million and whatever Rory McIlroy was offered and did something for the money. There's no way it was 125 million. I can tell you that.
Well, Rory's also one major away from completing the Grand Slam.
Apparently,
Yeah. So,
and I don't know this to be a fact, but you asked this question.
About majors, can they participate in majors if they're
if they're not in the PGA?
They don't have the card.
On the Athletic, there was an article that said the British Open and the US Open, PGA of America for the championship bylaws say that entries must be part of a recognized tour. Now, do they recognize the tour? That's the question.
Then I guess it's a matter of who's doing the recognizing.
The big question for the Masters, word from Augusta National, could be coming sooner rather than later regarding the status of LIV players for the Masters. This is seen as one of the last lines of defense for the PGA Tour's counter-strike. So
the PGA is going to be lobbying hard for the Grand Slam events to not recognize.
Well, the Open and the U.S. Open they're eligible. Done. USGA has confirmed it. They are eligible for the U.S. Open. Now, the Open Championship, it says it's a safe bet that RNA will follow the USGA's lead and allow eligible players to participate. But obviously the PGA Championship, they can't because they're not on. PGA. It says they have to be a recognized tour. Now, it's understood that LIV probably doesn't fit that bill. Thus, those players would not be members of a recognized tour and ineligible.
So the Masters is then the
Masters is the question,
which they often go by the beat of their own drum. So
it's the Augusta National Golf Club's tournament. It's not a PGA event.
I could see them letting them play because if these guys can also play at the Masters, that's better for the Masters, and the Masters are going to do what's best for the Masters.
Meanwhile, LIV Golf apparently has released a statement. Today's announcement by the PGA Tour is vindictive, and it deepens the divide between the tour and its members. It's troubling that the tour, an organization dedicated to creating opportunities for golfers to play the game, is the entity blocking golfers from playing. This certainly is not the last word on the topic. The era of free agency is beginning, as we are proud to have a full field of players joining us in London and beyond. That's pretty self-serving, I would say. This is that statement was part of a tweet from friend of the show at ESPN McGee, the second best guy in Wham.
The other guy.
The other guy in Wham.
The other guy.
Well, there were only two. So.
That's right.
But like I said, it just strikes me as a little self-serving and sounds like guys that want to have their cake and eat it too.
Listen, this is wild. I mean, this is drama and golf
drama in a store where you in a sport where you don't
never see it. Almost never see it.
Some might call this first world problems.
Well, I mean,
or chaos.
Yeah.
Considering where the other tour is, I don't know if you could call it that or not. Which, I mean, I know most of Saudi Arabia is, but not all of it. So, I mean, this is interesting. I'm enjoying it just because me. I'm Captain Chaos.
Yes,
I'm here for the chaos. I'm here for the drama. Let's go. But this is interesting. I'm really curious to see how the Masters plays this. Speaking of, do you guys ever enter the the Masters ticket lottery?
I do not.
I have not.
I'm typically
I
busy
always
that
do.
time of year.
I always do, just because
Good.
you
So
never
that
know.
way we can join you when you win.
Well, if I win, then great. But why not?
Are there any consolation prizes? Do
No.
they ever say, sorry, we didn't get you passes, but here's a towel?
No.
Oh, so it's all or nothing.
No, it's all or nothing. Here's better luck next year.
Which you typically don't.
No, there's never any good luck involved. So anyway, let's take a. We're going to take a break. We're going to get
you and I are.
Yes,
gonna
we're going to let JP talk for just a minute and tell us the few things that happened yesterday and the fewer things that are going to happen today in the world of sports, and we'll give you the rundown.
This is the rundown. All righty, so we'll get into it. Yesterday from Major League Baseball, we had the Diamondbacks 7-0 over the Reds. The Rays from Tampa Bay over the St. Louis Cardinals, 11-3 your finals. The Bravos, 13-2 over the Oakland Athletics, 7 in a row. 7 in a row. The Phillies shutting out the Brewers 10-0. Thanks again, Brew Crew. That's right, though.
Killing me.
Listen, which would you rather have, a 7-game win streak for the Braves or the Brewers stinking it against the NL East?
We need the wins.
We should also mention that the Padres defeated the Mets by a matching 13-2.
13-2. That's right.
Or last night.
There you go.
So I think that lead in the East is now 7 games. Is that right?
It is dwindling.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not entirely sure what it is. In fact, 7 games. So yeah,
All right, good news.
Yes.
Thank you, Padres.
Philly's down to 9.5 after firing Joe Girardi.
Yeah, some call San Diego the greatest city in the world, St. Diego.
There you go. Well done.
Continue.
We will continue before I go down that road. In the Sounds last night, they fall to Norfolk 8-3.
Tough night for Ethan Small. 2 2/3, 7 earned runs.
quick out.
Bad night.
Yep.
Just a bad night for Ethan Small.
Doubleheader tonight. We'll get more on
Snap and
that
clear.
coming up in just a moment. Women's College World Series, Oklahoma. They get a win in Game 1, 16-1. Your final there, Game 2 tonight, and Oklahoma can finish the Longhorns off,
Will.
more than likely.
Yeah, I'm not feeling so good about I think this is going to wind up 1-3.
No.
He took a flyer. Sometimes it's good to take a chance, Bo.
Yeah.
Hey, best 2 out of 3. You never know. You never know. You're saying there's a chance. The Celtics with a 116-110 win over the Warriors. Boston leads that best of 7 series.
Sorry, that's actually 100. It was not 110. It was 116, 100.
I was going to say that's closer than the game probably actually was.
No.
Celtics got a pick.
No, my bad.
But you never know. I mean, I turned it on the third quarter and saw the 7-point possession by the Warriors. And subsequently, the next possession, I think they took the lead for a moment.
And that's it.
For a moment.
A moment. That's all they had.
And then the Celtics. So I'm impressed by Boston.
You almost had it.
You got to be quicker.
Got to be quicker than that.
WNBA, Washington, 84-82 winners over Chicago.
16 from Candace Parker in that one.
And it's
And
still
the loss.
playing.
Oh, yeah.
Man.
At a high level.
She's player of the year last year. MVP.
Yep.
Exactly.
There you go. Thursday schedule.
Not good enough to be an Olympian. Sorry. Continue.
Thursday schedule, we've got a game already in progress. A day game, Reds and D-backs, and Cincinnati leading that one 3-1. That's in the 7th. Actually through 7 now. Bottom of the 2nd, the Phillies and the Brewers tied at 1 apiece. Tonight, the Braves host the Pirates. 6:20 is your first pitch. And doubleheader tonight in Nashville, First Horizon Park. The Sounds, 5:35. 1 ticket gets you 2 games. Doubleheader, 7 innings each, half hour between games. So should be a perfect night.
It will be a perfect night for
baseball.
baseball.
Yes, absolutely. Women's College World Series, we mentioned Game 2 tonight, Oklahoma and Texas, 6:30 on ESPN2. Oklahoma, of course, with a commanding, if you can call it such, a commanding 1-0 lead.
It is.
Still one.
In a game, in a best of 3, it's pretty commanding, especially when that one is 16-1.
That's right. But it counts only as 1, but they lead tonight. And track and field championships continue out in Eugene, Oregon, 7:30 tonight. See, I learned something yesterday. TNF, Chris, track and field.
That's right.
Got it. That is your Thursday rundown.
All right, when we come back, Joe BLAIR, new Assistant Executive Director of the TSSAA, joins us. So stick around. Main Street Sports Today, presented by Mid-Tennessee Bone and Joint, is back after this. Mid-Tennessee Bone and Joint treats your orthopedic injuries and existing conditions. Our trained physicians will get you back in the game faster. Contact us at 931-381-2663 or www.mtbj.net. Hey folks, while we take a quick break from the show, I want to tell you about our friends over at Custom Stone Handlers in downtown Columbia. Ed Rich and his team at Custom Stone Handlers believe in leadership. And outside of the military, our greatest leader building platform is sports. Custom Stone Handlers proudly encourages young people to get in the game. You can contact them today at 931-490-4990 or visit CustomStonehandlers.com.
Jones & Lang Sporting Goods here in Columbia has been outfitting teams, officials, and anybody else from T-ball to college for 50-plus years. Be sure and check them out at 931-388-8060 or online at jonesandlang.com. Jones & Lang Sporting Goods, the look of a winner.
Zion Christian Academy, ZionEagles.org or 931-388-5731. You can schedule your appointment. Go tour their campus. It is beautiful over there, and you're definitely going to want to see it. Again, it's ZionEagles.org. Give them a call, 931-388-5731, and schedule your tour today.
Are you an enthusiastic sports fan? Want to have fun and get in on the action?
Heck yes, that'd be awesome.
Have great attention to detail? Want to stay active?
Definitely.
Want to give back to the student athletes in your community?
Obviously, yes.
Then you'd make an excellent high school sports official. We need more officials in Tennessee, because with no high school officials, there are no high school sports. Sign up today at highschoolofficials.com.
Mid-Tennessee Bone and Joint has been the official sports medicine provider for Murray County Schools for more than 40 years. We specialize in orthopedic injuries, and our Ortho Quick walk-in service lets you bypass the ER. Visit us online at www.mtbj.net. Welcome back in Main Street Sports Today, presented by Mid-Tennessee Bone and Joint. Chris Yow alongside Mo Patton and JP Plant here in Columbia, but not cool for us. Very warm here in the studio with no air conditioning.
We're going to get through it.
Yeah, of course we will. We're professionals. We power through things like this. Also, when you are professionals, you get a chance to talk to some high-level guests, Mo. And today, we get to do that as newly named Assistant Executive Director of the TSSAA, Joe BLAIR joins us now on Coach's Corner, presented by From the Heart Cafe out in Chapel Hill. Renee Hart and the fine folks out in Chapel Hill taking care of us all the time. Delicious sandwiches, soups, catering, and more. Go see Renee Hart at From the Heart Cafe out in Chapel Hill. Proud sponsors of Coach's Corner. Joe, welcome into the show. Thanks for taking some time with us.
Thanks so much. I appreciate you giving me a call and having me come on.
We appreciate you taking the call now that you are Assistant Executive Director of the TSSAA. I figured I could get a hold of Brentwood Athletics Director Joe BLAIR. I wasn't so sure I could get a hold of TSSAA staffer Joe BLAIR. So thank you. But congratulations in all seriousness.
Thank you, Mo. I appreciate it. I appreciate you and all the things that you all do to help cover high school athletics and the Mo. Just from a personal standpoint, I consider you a good friend, and the support you give me over the years, going back to my coaching days and on up through today. I really appreciate you.
Well, I appreciate you, even though you didn't take it so easy on my son during his wrestling days. But at
He
any,
was a worry. He was a worry. I will say that. He was definitely a concern.
I appreciate you saying that, Joe. Your second job, basically, is that fair to say?
Yeah, that was. I was when I was going through the process. I was thinking to myself, and I mentioned to a couple of the people that I hadn't. That was the first time I'd ever interviewed for anything in a little over 25 years. So I definitely had to do some talking to some people who were more familiar with that process and things to consider and watch out for going through all that.
What was that like for you going through the the application process, the interview process? I mean, I guess the good thing is, worst comes to worst, you go back to Brentwood. But I mean, what is that like?
Well, yeah, that was kind of the good plus, I guess, for me and my family going through this was, you know, if worst comes to worst, and it didn't work out for me to get the position this time. That wasn't what God had in mind. Well, I was already at a great place at Brentwood High with a really good job and working with amazing people. So I mean, it wasn't like I was losing out on anything if it didn't work out. But the process itself was actually a good process for me to go through because it actually gave me a chance to sit back and reflect on where I've come in 25 years, which I really hadn't done that much of. So because I had to, work on my resume and write out everything that I had done or experienced in my time. And consider people who would be willing to vouch for me as references and things like that, and actually think about what kind of questions I would be asked in an interview and philosophies and what I think about certain things. So that was good, I think, for me to go through all that, do some good soul searching through all that. So I mean, I actually kind of enjoyed it in some regards. In other regards, it was not the most comfortable thing in the world, but that's how it is sometimes, I guess.
Joe, obviously, your background as wrestling coach at Brentwood High, and with the state wrestling tournaments being held out at the Williamson County Ag Expo for the last while, with the exception of COVID issues, you've worked pretty closely with that organization on a lot of things. How much of an impact do you feel like that was through this process that concluded with you joining their staff?
It was a great impact, I believe, because that really gave me kind of an inside look into what TSSAA was about. This was really the second time I had considered trying for a position there. The first time was about 13, 14 years ago when another assistant executive position came open, and I applied for it with not nearly the experience or knowledge that I have now. And of course, I got the thanks but no thanks kind of letter back from the organization that I really, on paper, was not an appealing candidate back then. But going back to the time that I put in with helping with the state tournaments and everything like that, and really the people that I gotten to work with, it really became a lot more appealing. It was a little appealing to me back then, but it became a lot more appealing to me because I got to see exactly what the organization was like, what the people there are like. It's really good people, really good folks. Mark Reeves is just a top-notch person. Always thought that about him, and the idea of getting a chance to go to work with and for him is a very appealing thing, and that was something that really helped me to consider pursuing this, because there weren't very many jobs, really, honestly, that were on my list that I would really kind of go after, and that would mean me leaving Brentwood High because of the special place that Brentwood has been to me and for me for all these years. It's a great place to work. I've got a great administrator. Kevin Keidel's the best principal around, bar none. And I have just an amazing coaching staff, good people to work with. So it was going to take something really, really special and unique to make me want to even consider. I've had chances to go places before, and it was an easy no thank you, and appreciate you asking, but I like where I am. But knowing who Mark is, knowing the people at TSSAA, who they are, getting to know them, that really helped in this decision process. It really helped me say, okay, this one's worth looking at, and then seeing what, if God opens the doors or not, and we'll see what happens.
Suddenly, with you and Mark, who coached wrestling at Springfield, his alma mater, the TSU, I'm sorry, the TSSAA staff has gotten pretty wrestling top heavy.
That's where I was going. I was like, wow, look at all the wrestling tie-ins here. Come here.
Hey, there's nothing wrong with that. There's nothing wrong with that.
Yeah, tell that to those basketball folks.
Listen, at the end of the day, in the world, there's a lot more basketball people than there are wrestling people, but that's fine. They'll see what we're like and how hardworking we are, and we have the mindset. You know what? Push comes to shove, a wrestle off solves everything. So there you go. It sounds like you guys are having a wrestling practice type setting in your studio today.
Yeah,
We're
trying to drop weight.
You cut some pounds today. That's a good thing.
At least one of us could use it. Yeah, absolutely. That's very fitting, because I've been in some wrestling facilities this time of year, and this.
Oh yeah.
As I sit here, you're not wrong.
Joining us here on Main Street Sports today, presented by Mid Tennessee Bone and Joint, is Joe Blair on Coach's Corner, presented by From the Heart Cafe out in Chapel Hill. I hesitate to ask this way, but I think it does. It's a great question and a terrible way to phrase it. Have they told you exactly what you're going to be doing there? What is it would you say that you do here, Joe?
Well, yes. When the job was posted, they put out a pretty detailed description with that job. And along the way through the process, and talking to Mark and some of the people there, getting a little more clarification on some of those duties as well. And I mean, there's things on that description that obviously I know about. I feel really comfortable with the wrestling aspect of it. That's just I've done wrestling since the third grade in some form or fashion. So I feel like I've got a pretty good handle on that sport. But there's things on there that I obviously am going to have. There's going to be a learning curve, and there's going to be a lot of people I'm going to be leaning on. The good thing about it is I'm not going to have to reinvent the wheel on a lot of stuff, because, like I said, I'm basically taking over the position that Mark Reeves held, and he's done a great job of really laying a solid foundation for a lot of those areas. So there's connections, there's people that know more than me, and if anything else, over the past 25 years, I've learned that I don't know everything, and that it's really good to lean on those people that do know more than me, and soak up everything they can. I'm not 100% sure on some of the things. I think some of that's still getting polished out, whether I'm going to be also overseeing soccer or softball. Not sure about that one yet. I do know that sports medicine is going to be a part of it. So probably working with trainers and keeping up with the latest trends in sports medicines and trainings that our coaches would need, as well as overseeing the catastrophic insurance policy that TSSAA offers to member schools, and various other things too. It was kind of like when I took over as athletic director 5 years ago. I wasn't seeking that out. It was kind of like one of these things. We need you to become the athletic director, and I told told Kevin Keidel at the time. I said, I'm not ready for this, and he looked at me. He said, nobody is until you actually get in there and start doing it. And I think that's true for any administrator type role. You kind of know what it's like, but until you get in there and start getting your hands dirty, you really don't know. You just got to be ready to roll with a lot of things and reach out and grab onto those resources that you have and listen to the people that know more than you really, really well.
No doubt Joe Blair will be willing to get his hands dirty as Assistant Executive Director of the TSSAA. Joining us here on Coach's Corner, presented by From the Heart Cafe over in Chapel Hill. Joe, really appreciate your time this afternoon, and looking forward to watching your evolution. I'm interested in this day of ever rising gas costs. That commute out to Hermitage, not going to be a lot of fun. They giving you a gas card or what?
Well, you know what? I hope so. I took this is how smart I am. I took the job with not really seeing any kind of numbers or anything else that go along with it. So this may or may not be a good decision by me and from the fiscal side of things, but we'll see what happens. We'll make the best of it.
Joe, thank you so much, man. We appreciate it. We'll be in touch.
All right. Appreciate y'all. Thank you for everything you do.
All righty.
We're going to continue talking about the Board of Control's decisions and discussions.
Well, it sounds like they might have just hired an assistant executive director for free. Who knows?
They may have. Hey, did anybody figure out what his salary is going to be? Well, he didn't really ask for one. I think he's just going to do it for free. Hey, save a little dough.
Cut corners where you can, right?
Hey, everybody's tightening their belt these days. We're going to take a quick break. The NCAA is they are going after NIL violations from before they had rules. But I'll tell you,
how do you do that?
Well, I'll tell you kind of what they're going to do and what is and what isn't in their sights on the other side of the break. So stick around. Main Street Sports Today, presented by Mid-Tennessee Bone and Joints, back after this. Mid-Tennessee Bone and Joint treats your orthopedic injuries and existing conditions. Our trained physicians will get you back in the game faster. Contact us at 931-381-2663 or www.mtbj.net. Hey folks, while we take a quick break from the show, I want to tell you about our friends over at Custom Stone Handlers in downtown Columbia. Ed Rich and his team at Custom Stone Handlers believe in leadership. And outside of the military, our greatest leader building platform is sports. Custom Stone Handlers proudly encourages young people to get in the game. You can contact them today at 931-490-4990 or visit CustomStonehandlers.com.
Jones & Lang Sporting Goods here in Columbia has been outfitting teams, officials, and anybody else from T-ball to college for 50-plus years. Be sure and check them out at 931-388-8060 or online at jonesandlang.com. Jones & Lang Sporting Goods, the look of a winner.
Zion Christian Academy, ZionEagles.org or 931-388-5731. You can schedule your appointment. Go tour their campus. It is beautiful over there, and you're definitely going to want to see it. Again, it's ZionEagles.org. Give them a call, 931-388-5731, and schedule your tour today.
A game without a crowd is just a scrimmage. A performance without an audience is just a rehearsal. Without your presence, high school sports and the performing arts aren't possible. Ensure that these essential extracurricular activities continue to enrich the lives of students in Tennessee. Purchase a ticket to your local high school's game or performance.
This message presented by the TSSAA.
Mid-Tennessee Bone and Joint has been the official sports medicine provider for Murray County Schools for more than 40 years. We specialize in orthopedic injuries, and our Ortho Quick walk-in service lets you bypass the ER. Visit us online at www.mtbj.net. Hey, welcome back in Main Street Sports today, presented by Mid Tennessee Bone and Joint, and we are diving into some NIL discussion because Sports Illustrated has just about an hour ago tweeted out a letter from the NCAA to member institutions that they obtained somehow, some way, of course. And it's certainly interesting, but couple things real quick on NIL. Well, before we get into that, Mo, you had another pretty big story that not NIL related, but transfer portal related, and apparently they are one and the same these days.
Yeah, they're pretty much in lockstep these days. But yeah, Vanderbilt sophomore right-hander Christian Little is no longer Vanderbilt as he has entered the transfer portal. 6'4", 210-pounder, was tied for second on the team in appearances with 18, 15 of those out of the pen. He had 3 saves, which was the second most on the team. He was in the top 5 in innings pitched and strikeouts, finished up 1-2 with a 3.72 ERA as the Commodores advanced to the final game of the Corvallis Regional before falling to host Oregon State. So looking to take his talents elsewhere for the next year or two, I guess, because, again, he's a sophomore, so he would be draft eligible next year.
But could obviously finish out if he felt like it.
Sure. So, interesting move, because I would think that he would have kind of moved up in the hierarchy at Vanderbilt for this coming year, given, the work that he put in this past season and what he has brought to that team to this point. So I'm interested to see, where he winds up. Now, just because he's in the transfer portal does not necessarily mean that he's leaving.
That's correct.
Because there have been guys who have gone into the portal and come back out with their original team. It happens.
It does. So. It does. Speaking of college baseball, Tennessee announced that they will start Blade Tidwell in game 1 and I believe Dollander in game 2.
Correct.
So game 3 TBD if necessary.
I don't know that they are necessarily planning for game 3.
I was about to say, it doesn't seem like they are expecting to play game 3, and that's certainly Tennessee baseball for you in a nutshell. Yeah. Game 3, we won't need one.
It's kind of the Steve Spurrier field goals.
We don't kick
many of those. Yeah.
So as JP mentioned before the show in the opening of the first half here, Fanatics, which recently acquired, was it Topps? I believe Fanatics recently acquired Topps, the trading card company, and they have signed contracts with around 150 NCAA institutions to create trading cards for college players that they would be able to earn money from their name, image, and likeness. And if name, image, and likeness existed in the 80s, this would have been the TikTok level of NIL deals. I mean, if you could have made money, because you remember when Auburn and Alabama, and I don't know if Tennessee had them, but the trading cards from like way back in the day.
Vaguely.
You know what I'm talking about, though.
Mm-hmm.
The schools had them,
Mm-hmm.
but the players didn't make money off of it. The schools
not.
did. But, I mean, could you imagine a Bo Jackson Auburn card would have gone for back in the day? Shoot. I mean, this is a great deal for the players. I think this is fantastic for Fanatics. It's good for college football. I mean, there are a lot of folks out there. And here's the thing. Trading cards have been coming back here recently. Again, I've said it a number of times on this show, but the millennial generation is so incredibly nostalgic that it has, and now that we have adult money, we are doing dumb things with our adult money, like buying trading cards. But this is, and that's one of the things that's going to be great for NCAA athletes. I'm excited about it. I think it's going to be great. I don't collect trading cards, but if I did, this would be cool to have. So it's interesting. And Michigan State football players, I think maybe some of their basketball players as well, have created a collective of their own. Now, Knoxville has one of the first collectives that folks were kind of looking at, and the collectives essentially sign athletes to, they'll create merchandise, sell the merchandise, and then you get a cut if your name, image, or likeness is part of the sale. You just get a commission because, your face is on the t-shirt, right? What Michigan State has done is created a collective that has someone basically acting as not an agent, but a booking agent, basically, for individuals. So when you contact this booking agent, the booking agent gets the 10% fee and they get the 90%, which is genius because, if we wanted, say, Blade Tidwell to come to an event that we were having, maybe a barbecue or something like that out, and we wanted to call them and say, hey, we'd like for Blade Tidwell to come up here and do this. Well, he charges, $100 an hour. Okay. Well, we pay them the $100 an hour. He gets 90, the booking agent gets 10, and he shows up for an hour.
Actually, that's not a bad idea.
Chris, I'm surprised as a Tennessee fan, you used the example of a barbecue. I thought maybe still too soon.
The key is to not lie about the barbecue.
Yeah, the barbecue wasn't the problem. It was telling folks you didn't have a barbecue that got us in trouble. Although that did not cross my mind. But yeah, it's not a bad idea. I think it's a fantastic way for these athletes to absolutely earn legitimate.
No, I mean for us.
No, I'm saying, but this is a great idea for athletes to earn legitimate compensation for actually doing something, right? To work for it by using their name, image, or likeness. The NCAA thinks that some athletes may not have worked for it in the beginning of the NIL situations.
You know what? The NCAA, and you won't hear me say this often, it's probably right.
100%. 100%. So what they have done is they've said, and this comes from a letter to NCAA institutions from the association, obtained by SI Now. Ross Dellinger at Ross Dellinger on Twitter tweets it out, said that we understand the challenges on campus, particularly as it relates to boosters and collectives, but effective action in this area will require cooperation between member schools and the national office. Which,
good luck with that.
To be very clear, the enforcement staff is not focused on the eligibility of current or prospective student athletes. As always, the infractions process is primarily concerned with behaviors of institutional staff members and representatives, aka boosters. Now, friend of the show, Mitt Winter, says, at Winter Sports Law, it essentially, they are trying to pull out those who have been engaging in blatant and public violations of NIL rules.
Engaging in blatant and public? Is that what you said?
Yeah.
Okay. All right.
And so, some people got too confident, he says, that the NCAA wasn't going to do anything to enforce its rules, and those people are probably going to get dinged. But then what? Because what's probably going to happen is some boosters are going to be cut off, for lack of a better phrase. There's an actual word for it, and I don't know the word for it. But disassociated.
There we go.
That's it.
Yeah.
Once a booster is officially disassociated with the school, there could be some of this happening. So I'm really interested to see how this is going to play out because, again, the NCAA didn't really have any rules until they put those guidelines out a while back. And so
how are we supposed to do things within a unestablished framework?
well, I still think that the rules of no pay to play were in effect, right? I mean, those have always been a rule.
Mhm.
That's always been a rule. So I think that's where they were trying to skirt it by using it as NIL, but it really wasn't, because those kids weren't doing anything for that money other than going to the school and playing football or basketball or lacrosse or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm interested to see how this plays out. This is going to be this, because I guarantee you anybody with any sense is not cooperating.
Why would you?
Oklahoma State said not to. So
I trust Oklahoma State more than I do the NCAA.
Well, they've got history on their side. They got the facts, the data.
We cooperated. Look what happened.
See what happened. It was not good.
Don't let this be you. Yeah.
Oh, man.
Don't follow me.
Yeah. Well, do as I say, not as I did. Trust me.
Mm-hmm.
So it's interesting. We'll see what happens. No question there. Let's take a quick break. On the second half, we've got Tyler Palmateer. We'll talk more Board of Controls from the TSSAA and their decisions. We'll also get into the Braves, as always. So stick around. Main Street Sports Today, presented by Mid-Tennessee Bone and Joint. Back after this.
The city famous for its music is quiet now, but it's about to be overwhelmed by the symphony of speed. Nashville Superspeedway will be rocking from the pit to the grandstand. June 24th through 26th, the Ally 400 NASCAR Cup Series race weekend brings a mix of incredible racing and live entertainment. Tickets are going fast, so visit NashvilleSuperspeedway.com today and join the full throttle fun.
Yeah. It's halftime here on Main Street Sports Today. We're talking baseball here in just a minute, but I can't. I know this is not real. This is sports, but Angel Hernandez has now alleged in a legal filing that the Major League Baseball manipulated its internal umpiring metrics to disadvantage minorities.
Huh?
Wow.
I mean, he may be right, but
What is the practicality of what he's saying?
he's saying that there had only been one minority crew chief in the league's 150 years.
Okay.
Richie Garcia.
Okay.
Up until the filing of his lawsuit, whenever that may have been. But Angel Hernandez being the face of this is the absolute worst possible thing that could ever happen. Are you kidding me? This guy.
If Angel Hernandez is the face of discrimination, and it's just that's a
Tough sell.
it's going to be a tough sell, yeah. Because
Or maybe you just stink at umpiring, Angel. I mean, perhaps that could be, a little bit of the reason.
ever so slight.
This guy. I can't handle it. I don't even know how. Anyway.
I mean, not Laz Diaz, not Kerwin Danley.
Literally anyone else.
No,
Literally anyone.
Angel Hernandez is carrying this banner, and it's just tough for anybody to take it seriously, and that's unfortunate. Because I mean, again, what he's saying may be accurate, but the fact that it's him saying it is the issue.
There you go. Kenny Loggins has a new book out, as a memoir, in which he opens up about his feud with Garth Brooks from 1991. Because Kenny Loggins' Garth Brooks drama is what I need.
Were you aware of a Kenny Loggins Garth Brooks feud?
Was not, in fact. Apparently,
Over what?
Loggins and guitarist Guy Thomas wrote a song called Convictions of the Heart. 2 years later, Garth Brooks releases Standing Outside the Fire, which Loggins and Thomas thought sounded a little bit too similar to their composition. So they took Garth Brooks to court for copyright infringement. Garth Brooks brings his guitar to court. And it's like, I'll play the two songs. They're nothing alike. So anyway, they ended up in court together. Decades later, Loggins, looking back on the lawsuit in his new memoir, Still All Right. In the book, The Danger Zone, singer shares his recollection of how the lawsuit went down, as well as what he says Brooks admitted to him. So yeah.
Kenny Loggins just getting big boy pants with the new Maverick Top Gun movie.
He must be.
Is he involved in that at all?
Well,
Sure, he has to be, right?
yeah, I mean, he was involved in the first one with
Yeah, the music.
So I mean,
surely.
I'm sure there's some Kenny Loggins tunes in this.
Gotta
thing.
be. Yeah.
So anyway, Kenny Loggins back in the news. I didn't know there was Garth Brooks drama, but now that there is, I want to know more. I might actually read the book. Who knows?
And that
Is
my
exactly
friend,
why. Oh, let's take a quick break. We'll talk Braves on the other side. Stick around. This is Chris Yao with Main Street Sports Today. Every show, Mo Patton and I welcome friends from all across the sports landscape, from high school coaches and reporters to national, college, and pro sports personalities. You never know who might stop by for a chat. AP Tennessee Sports Editor, three-time Tennessee Sports Writer of the Year 2020 TSSAA Hall of Famer. She covers the Titans, the Predators, the Grizzlies, college football, and hoops. Please make welcome Teresa Walker.
former University of Tennessee, former Team USA Olympian, ex-Cy Young Award winner, R.A. Dickey. R.A., did I miss anything?
Man, that was sweet. Yeah, I need to listen to that before I go to bed every night. That was nice.
Has 5 sports Emmys. That's not bad for the other guy in Wham, Ryan McGee.
Other guy in Wham married the best looking girl in Bananarama, so other guy in Wham had a pretty good life.
From preps to pros, we're taking on the sports topics you care about. Tune in across Main Street Media social platforms at 2 p.m. or on demand on your podcast distribution platform of choice.
Welcome into the second half of the program, Main Street Sports Today. Coming up, we'll be joined by Tyler Palmateer, talking a little high school sports and the Board of Controls voting on some baseball postseason thoughts. We'll have our comments as well. And many more to get to. Braves chatter as well on this National Donald Duck Day, National Earl Day, and Earl.
I was told he had to die.
That's what I heard.
National Strawberry Rhubarb Pie Day. Back to a couple of sweet fellas in their own right. The Hall of Famer Mo Patton and the Sundrop Kid from Alabama, Chris Yao. Rhubarb pie. Strawberry rhubarb.
Yeah, I got some rhubarb jam at home. It's delicious.
Rhubarb.
Sarah opened the grape just 2 days ago. Said it was good. I finished the strawberry in like literally a week.
So you're ready for reinforcements, is what you're saying.
The strawberry was delicious. The rhubarb is really good too. I haven't tried the grape yet, but I'm going to.
What was your go-to? What'd you spread it on?
Just toast.
Toast?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Just toast.
No biscuits?
No, we don't do
English
a whole lot of
muffins?
biscuits. We don't do a whole lot of biscuits. We do bagels sometimes, but
Yeah.
if there's bagels, there's cream cheese.
Okay.
So, but yeah, jams by Jody. Killer. They are. What was it? Earl? National Earl Day?
National Earl
Not
Day.
like, is it like my name is Earl
I
guy?
think so.
Or is it
Yeah,
like
I think so.
It's like National Andrew Earl.
Andrew the Earl Moore?
The Earl.
Yeah, we should have had him on today.
Yeah,
I didn't
no
know.
Had we known, we didn't know.
You know, it's funny. Someone pointed this out to me the other day. Queen of my double wide trailer, you know, he rebuilds engines and his name is Earl. He's the Charlie Daniels of the torque wrench. Someone said that he is the same Earl from the chicks Earl had to die. And I'm thinking this is a possibility. I mean, the timing kind of fits. He was single in the early 90s, and so gets married to Mary Ann or Wanda.
That's Sammy Kershaw.
Sammy Kershaw.
Right? Okay.
Yeah. So like, it
Makes sense.
You know how Disney movies kind of intertwine? Maybe country music.
It's not
does
a
too.
stretch.
It's not a stretch.
Yeah.
No. I mean, he's the Charlie Daniels of the torque wrench. So he can certainly pick up Marianne or Wanda, whichever one he wanted. Anyway, the Atlanta Braves have won 7 games in a row, and we're counting. Who's counting? We're counting.
We are.
In fact.
We are counting.
You guys can't see this at the moment, but when you go back and watch, I put the lower third here. Braves 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 in a row. So yes, counting. Yes.
Or you could just go with W's. Just
Yeah.
7 of
Just
them.
keep the dubs coming. Keep the dubs coming. A lot of folks saying that the Braves are beating teams that aren't very good. And you know what I say to that? We lost 2 games to the Reds when they were 3-30. So these games count too.
The Braves split a 4-game series with the Yankees at Citi Field, right? With the Mets, I'm sorry. Some team in New York.
I was about to say, that would be interesting, but
Yeah.
no, I don't think they did. Yes, they did split a 4-game set with
With the Mets.
Yes.
On the road, right?
On the road.
In New York, wherever it is that the Mets play.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay, so
look,
do those not count or something?
Look, the Braves split with the Padres out west. I mean, this is not a team that's just beating bad teams. They're just finally getting into a groove, and no better time to have these particular teams come in here. You've had a grueling schedule. Everyone knew the Braves schedule in the first couple months was going to be grueling, and it was. They finally are getting a little bit of a break. They were close to 500 in that grueling set. And now you're seeing this team get a chance to face some not sensational pitching, maybe get some guys right like Adam Duvall. He had a double last night. You saw Michael Harris II kind of getting his groove in the batter's box. I think it's exactly what the Braves needed at this point in the season. I mean, this is when they start getting hot.
They have split 6 games with Milwaukee. They took 2 of 3 in Atlanta. They dropped 2 of 3 in Milwaukee, but they're 3-3 against the Brewers. The Brewers are pretty good, right?
Well, right now apparently not. The Phillies are whipping their tails. But other than that, most of the year they have been. Then again, they keep calling up the Sounds players and making the Sounds worse. So I'm really not fans right now.
Comes with it when you're a minor league team. Trust me.
I know it.
All the Braves can do is beat the people that they play, and right now they're doing that. They've done that the last 7 times they've gone out. Hopefully, making it 8 tonight as Pittsburgh arrives at Truist Field to open a 4-game series. Fried getting the start tonight. Is that right?
It's Fried tonight, Strider tomorrow, and Morton to close it out.
No, not to close it out. It's
4 games out. I'm sorry.
Yeah. Morton and then
and Kyle Wright.
Yeah.
We'll get another start.
So
that's this is a Braves team that, again, we've said it, they are actually doing it now. They're taking advantage of the schedule. That's what you have to have.
And again, this is a Pirates team that comes in at 24-30, but
not bad. This is not your 2 years ago Pirates team that was throwing the ball. That was that meme forever.
Mm-hmm. And they did just take a series in
Swept LA. In LA. Swept the Dodgers. Of course, the Dodgers are losing 4-0 right now to the White Sox in the 5th. So there's that.
They're not to be taken for granted. Pittsburgh isn't, but at the same time, this is a team that the Braves should continue success against.
Especially when JT Brubaker takes the bump tonight against Max Fried. He's 0-5 on the year, 4.70 ERA with a 1.45 whip. 51 strikeouts and 51 2/3. I'm sorry, 51 hits and 53 strikeouts and 51 2/3. Only 24 walks, though. So
he's going to be around the plate.
He's going to be around the plate, and that's not a good place to be when you've got Ronald Acuna and
how many hits did these guys have last night? They had a bunch. They had 13 hits. 13 runs, 13 hits last night.
Yep. And that's exactly what you need. 7 in a row. Here we go. Pirates in town. Mo, what happened this day in Braves history?
June 9th, 1996, after the Braves had surrendered 32 runs in 2 games against host Colorado, John Smoltz improved to 12-1 on the year with an 8-3 victory in Denver. Smoltz threw 8 1/3, scattering 7 hits and striking out 10 before Mark Wohlers got the final 2 outs. Not a save situation in an 8-3 game. 12-1, John Smoltz.
Mo,
going on?
If you can tell me who leads the Atlanta Braves in batting average today, I will give you a $5 bill.
I would imagine it's Acuna.
No. It may be Acuna, but I'm not sure if he qualifies because of at-bats.
Oh,
right?
okay.
Dansby.
Dansby Swanson. Who'd have thunk it?
I could tell by the way he
Seriously.
was asking Mo.
Who'd have thunk
It'll
it?
be Dansby.
You could have given me 9 guesses and I wouldn't have guessed Dansby Swanson. That's seriously. Anyway,
he's been hot here of late.
Anchor down.
Much needed, by the way.
Heck, again, he always heats up in June, right? It's about the time for Vandy boys to start getting hot.
Former Vandy boys, I guess.
The former ones, anyway. Let's take a break. Tyler PALMATEER on the other side of Main Street Sports today, presented by Mid-Tennessee Bone and Joint. Mid-Tennessee Bone and Joint treats your orthopedic injuries and existing conditions. Our trained physicians will get you back in the game faster. Contact us at 931-381-2663 or www.mtbj.net. Hey folks, while we take a quick break from the show, I want to tell you about our friends over at Custom Stone Handlers in downtown Columbia. Ed Rich and his team at Custom Stone Handlers believe in leadership. And outside of the military, our greatest leader building platform is sports. Custom Stone Handlers proudly encourages young people to get in the game. You can contact them today at 931-490-4990 or visit CustomStonehandlers.com.
Jones & Lang Sporting Goods here in Columbia has been outfitting teams, officials, and anybody else from T-ball to college for 50-plus years. Be sure and check them out at 931-388-8060 or online at jonesandlang.com. Jones & Lang Sporting Goods, the look of a winner.
Zion Christian Academy, zioneagles.org or 931-388-5731. You can schedule your appointment. Go tour their campus. It is beautiful over there, and you're definitely going to want to see it. Again, it's zioneagles.org. Give them a call, 931-388-5731, and schedule your tour today.
Are you an enthusiastic sports fan? Want to have fun and get in on the action?
Heck yes, that'd be awesome.
Have great attention to detail? Want to stay active?
Definitely.
Want to give back to the student athletes in your community?
Obviously, yes.
Then you'd make an excellent high school sports official. We need more officials in Tennessee, because with no high school officials, there are no high school sports. Sign up today at highschoolofficials.com.
Mid-Tennessee Bone and Joint has been the official sports medicine provider for Murray County Schools for more than 40 years. We specialize in orthopedic injuries, and our Ortho Quick walk-in service lets you bypass the ER. Visit us online at www.mtbj.net. From preps to pros and everything in between, we've got you covered here on Main Street Sports today, presented by Mid-Tennessee Bone and Joint. We've talked pros, now we head back to preps. We've been from preps to pros, back to preps. So
from preps to pros and back.
I mean, literally, it's just a big circle around here. So excited to talk to Tyler PALMATEER of Main Street Preps to get a little insight as to what took place at the TSSAA Board of Control meetings earlier this week, as he's got a story on MainStreetPreps.com. You can check that out. It's MainStreetPreps.com. It's in the top stories there. So you can find a little notebook of some things that took place, but I'm mostly concerned about the things that they didn't take action on, Mo. When on that first day, there was some interesting discussions that took place. So let's bring him in now. Tyler PALMATEER, welcome in. Thanks for taking some time with us today, man.
Hey, you bet, guys. Always good to be here.
And, one of the things that was talked about in day one of the meeting was 4 classifications. And I mean, based on what we've heard on this show, particularly from coaches, it's not popular. And yet the discussion sort of I guess, fizzled away. It seemed like, based on, Twitter and that sort of thing. So what did you hear as far as the 4 classifications for sports outside of football? Is it going to stick around?
Well, I didn't get the sense I guess you could say that there was little pushback on it. There was a lot of discussion about the negatives and the positives, but the discussion, there was no motion to do anything. So there really wasn't nobody motioned to change it. So that's kind of the Kickstarter in a meeting like that. So anybody, I suppose, I'm not a meeting expert by any means, but I think somebody's got a motion. They can put it up there and they can say yes or no. And that just never happened. I don't think they were ready to make a decision, but the conversation was kind of circular at times. We talked a lot about, obviously, why does that not work? Well, there's a lot of travel involved, and
I like Bernard's comment on that. Have you talked to your friends in D2? They've been traveling for a minute.
Right, and it's probably
we're going to miss that.
We are.
Yeah, I bet Mark Reeves will find his footing. I'll bet he'll have some quips and things ready for us. I bet he can be pretty funny. I don't know Mark too well. Most of my conversations with him have been pretty serious, but yeah, it was Bernard. That was funny. Anyways, yeah, obviously travel is a big concern, and that's something that those schools had to adjust to. So that came up a lot. What I heard back, I almost heard just as many positives. And when you talk about positives, they're not for everybody, because I think some people obviously see that competition as being kind of watered down in a couple classes. So, but on the flip side of that, what I heard from 2 administrators there is that they were happy to be competitive when you're one of the smaller 3As and you have very little hope of maybe being competitive in some sports. One administrator said, we didn't think in the past we could even be competitive in the postseason when the year started. And now with this change, we feel we can do something in the postseason in almost every sport. So when you kind of look at the mission of organizations like the TSSAA and high school sports, it's providing a classy championship experience for as many as possible. Now, obviously, there is a boundary to that. You can't give everybody a trophy. Everybody can't compete for a state championship, or who cares about it, right? So, that's the flip side. But that, that wasn't talked about a whole lot, the watered down competition. It was a little bit. There were some things discussed about additional athletes in track, for instance. What if you put 16 state qualifiers in there? Well, you didn't talk about kids getting lapped in the 3,200 or something. That's not good. That's not a good state championship competition. So, it was kind of went round and round. But I will say this: I heard this enough. We can conclude after that discussion that travel is a negative aspect, but I didn't hear a whole lot of good solutions necessarily to it. And then when you look at the financial part, the basketball numbers went up.
It's ironic because the travel here in Columbia actually went down considerably with the class.
Yeah,
to class 4. There are some places where it decreased.
Yeah, it's certainly case by case. It's not a one size fits all deal,
sure.
But when you look at bottom line type stuff, extra championships is extra money, and that speaks loudly. And I haven't, and it's important to remember too. It's the TSSAA wields a certain amount of power, but at the end of the day, the member schools have a voice, and it's a significant voice. So they have to speak up in these situations. If it's there are ways to communicate with the TSSAA as a member school. You can write letters. You can show up. Your administrator's represented on the board, or somebody in your region can speak on your behalf. There's a way to get those messages across. This isn't a dictatorship by any means. So the schools at the end of the day are going to have to move the dial on that if it's really a problem. But when you look back at the money part of it, that's certainly kind of standing over there is a pretty important aspect. And especially as we come out of a time when money was a little tight, with the COVID season. So yeah, I mean, it was a worthwhile discussion. They'll come back to it for sure. I mean, that thing isn't going away.
No, I don't think it is. Tyler Palmateer of MainStreetPreps.com with us here on Main Street Sports today. Tyler, we just had Joe BLAIR on, the new TSSAA Assistant Executive Director, whose hiring was voted upon and apparently passed during the Board of Control meeting.
Easy to pass when he don't want no money.
Well, yeah, at a salary to be determined, apparently. But I imagine you dealt with Joe a little bit here. What are your impressions of that?
Well, it's I haven't dealt with Joe a ton, but I have some. I will say this: when you come from anybody from Williamson County is I think that's a good representation to have, because it's a big county that really does sports in a big way. So you've obviously got somebody who understands the passion behind sports and understands that it's in a county like that it's maybe I'm trying to find the word for it. Just you deal with that many different schools. Now he doesn't have the Williamson County Sports AD title like Darren joins, but I think when you kind of work in that network, you get a little bit of a feel for it. And that the same could go for any of those big counties, Sumner, Rutherford. I mean, I'm not trying to single out Williamson County. But no, I mean, I think it's a great guy to name. I mean, you're talking about a guy who's been at Brentwood for his whole life, or his whole career, and so you've got somebody who's likely certainly doesn't have the reputation as somebody who may lose interest and split and decide. He seems like a guy who's pretty well entrenched. He went to Brentwood as soon as he was ready, as soon as his professional career was ready. So. No, I think that's a good decision. And, I'm just going to be 100% honest with you guys. When Mark Reeves was the assistant executive director, I dealt with him a little bit, but that's an interesting title. And, I for one, I'm kind of curious what all it entails.
If you listen to
executive director and.
If you'll go back and listen to our first half podcast, I asked him, I said, what is it exactly that you say you do here, Joe? So he gave us a little bit of an insight, but he did say that there were some things that he's not really, really sure about yet either. So it is certainly an interesting job title, because assistant is kind of, hey, can you take this on for me, because I can't handle it. I've got too much or whatever. So those job titles and job duties seem to change quite a bit with the assistant title and just about anything, right?
Sure.
Other duties
as
warranted.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. Well, whatever fires Mark Reeves can't put out, because I mean, how many hoses do you need as the executive director of a high school association to put out all the fires that kind of ignite around you? So I think the executive director position is sort of it's just you're supplementing what the executive director's doing, and that's just I'm not to say he's like it's not important, but I just think it's that executive position so big, you definitely need a number two, and you need a solid number two. So
it's worked out for the last two number twos.
That's the importance of it there.
Exactly.
Also, that you could maybe you could be the number one someday.
Right. Among the other discussions that took place at the Board of Control meeting, Tyler, there was some talk about what to do about lacrosse, what to do about girls flag football, indoor track, that kind of thing. Obviously, as you talked about, Williamson County, they piloted the girls flag football program this past spring, and as we had Bernard Childress on. Was it last week?
Mm-hmm.
He mentioned that the interest in that sport in particular is statewide. What was the type discussion around that sport in particular this week?
Well, Bernard was the one who broached it, and I think the word he used is that it was operating like gangbusters, quote unquote gangbusters in Williamson County. And he basically said it's coming. You can't really say it's. I think that's a strong feeling within the organization that was so successful, and that the momentum is such that get ready. It's when we don't know, but it's just probably coming. And he said, and they had already tabled lacrosse sanctioning for the August meeting. What they'll do there. So he basically lumped lacrosse into that is coming. They're trying to figure that out. And then there's also indoor track, of course, which I believe they said there's maybe even a couple places where they can even hold a state championship for that. Vanderbilt, and I thought they said East Tennessee State, but I'm not totally familiar with what goes on at East Tennessee State. I assume they have maybe an indoor track facility of some kind. But yeah, based on what Bernard said, if I'm just taking a guess, that's on its way, and that maybe has too much momentum to stop. And you guys went to plenty of that. It was popular. Players loved it, coaches loved it, and fans showed up. And that's kind of what you need for a sport. It's not that hard or necessarily expensive to get going, and pretty good chance Metro is going to be in that conversation next year. That's not official yet, but there are signs pointing to Metro Nashville Public Schools picking it up. So maybe some will hinge on how successful that is. I think what they want to see, it was a success in Williamson County. The question is, will it be a success in other counties? So
y'all better hope it don't reach Lawrence County. That's all I'm saying. Y'all better hope that Lawrence County don't realize that it exists.
Because once Loretto and Summertown get involved,
y'all can write it. Just be done with it. Y'all just better hope it don't get to Lawrence County. Y'all better hope there's a wall in Murray County somewhere, top or bottom. Is all I'm saying.
You're saying it's going to take off there?
I'm saying that every girl sport that they play, they dominate in. So if it gets there,
in places like that, with a lot of female athletes that are traditionally have talented female sports, no doubt. That's perhaps you could argue that's why it was good in Williamson County. So yeah, you got a good point. It's going to thrive in places like that where females come out in droves to play other sports. It's interesting to look through the list that the TSSAA puts out about who all plays 3 sports. But if you go down the list and you study it, there's a couple 5-sport athletes out there. The people aren't afraid to. I think we've kind of thought we're in this era of specification. I think we all kind of think that's the narrative, and it sort of is, but not everybody. Not everybody wants to just do one thing. Not everybody is specifying to go play in college. So that's why flag football is so cool. It's just out there. What a great thing to do. Like if you're a senior, on your way out in graduation, just go participate in something really cool that has backing from the NFL.
Well, there's at least, some sort of collegiate level
NAI
involvement. So, you can play at the next level.
Sure.
So, which is really interesting, especially with as many NAI schools as we have right here in this area. It could seriously be a great way to get to that next step here in Tennessee with UT Southern, Bethel, and Freed, etc. There's some insane levels of competition here in this area. So you never know. Wanted to get your quick comments, thoughts, if you can put them in quick. Maybe you can't make them quick because we certainly couldn't. Baseball. 3-game. First off, a double elim region tournament and a 3-game set for the sectional certainly doesn't bode well for some of these teams who, probably don't have that many arms.
Yeah, that's a tough one. Because I think what we saw in D2AA, or in some cases in well, let's look at the Lipscomb finale there at state. I mean, you get down to it, and you've run out of arms in a double elimination state tournament. So then when you talk about a double elimination region and then the series, that's a pretty big change. I think it's an interesting discussion all the way around, because my experience has been with state baseball and softball state tournaments that are a double elimination format in a region. And then when you get through the region final, you're in the state tournament, which is a single elimination quarters through championship. Now, what that doesn't accomplish is baseball and softball are of a fluky nature, which is why you see the series. And, at the college level, I mean, how much fun do we all have watching the regionals and then this weekend with super regionals? So there's an aspect there where you want games, but then if your pitching gets all worn out and, if we're staying on the watered down competition, I mean, do we really want to see two freshmen duel it out in the state championship because the star pitchers have reached their max? That's for somebody else to decide. I certainly think I don't think it's like the double elimination in the series is just wearing everybody out. I mean, people are still going to go those games, and people still did. But I think they're thinking about different ways and what they like to do. And D2 AA did it, and they've obviously felt like that was the right thing for Division I. So I don't know. It's interesting. Like I said, what I come from is I kind of like single elimination quarters through championship, but I come from a different place. So it's like, people aren't used to that here. I respect the fact that something's a little different, and I kind of like series too. They can be fun. But you make a good point with the pitching. You really do. And that plays a factor. Especially in Class A. But hey, who am I and what do I know? That's the way I see it. But Tyler Palmateer, MainStreetPreps.com. Check out the website, MainStreetPreps.com, for coverage there. Also follow him at TPalmateer83 on Twitter. Tyler, thanks for your time today, man. Yeah, man. Appreciate you guys having me on. It's always a good time. Thanks. Well, there are some things that I'd like to kind of expound upon, Mo. So I'll ask you a couple of questions on the other side of this break, because I guess I want to hear your thoughts on some of these things.
Okay, check your run of show.
My run of show. We'll get to it.
Okay.
On the other side of the break, it's Main Street Preps today, presented by Mid Tennessee Bone and Joint. So stick around. Mid-Tennessee Bone and Joint treats your orthopedic injuries and existing conditions. Our trained physicians will get you back in the game faster. Contact us at 931-381-2663 or www.mtbj.net. Hey folks, while we take a quick break from the show, I want to tell you about our friends over at Custom Stone Handlers in downtown Columbia. Ed Rich and his team at Custom Stone Handlers believe in leadership. And outside of the military, our greatest leader building platform is sports. Custom Stone Handlers proudly encourages young people to get in the game. You can contact them today at 931-490-4990 or visit CustomStonehandlers.com.
Jones & Lang Sporting Goods here in Columbia has been outfitting teams, officials, and anybody else from T-ball to college for 50 plus years. Be sure and check them out at 931-388-8060 or online at jonesandlang.com. Jones & Lang Sporting Goods, the look of a winner.
Zion Christian Academy, ZionEagles.org or 931-388-5731. You can schedule your appointment. Go tour their campus. It is beautiful over there, and you're definitely going to want to see it. Again, it's ZionEagles.org. Give them a call, 931-388-5731, and schedule your tour today.
A game without a crowd is just a scrimmage. A performance without an audience is just a rehearsal. Without your presence, high school sports and the performing arts aren't possible. Ensure that these essential extracurricular activities continue to enrich the lives of students in Tennessee. Purchase a ticket to your local high school's game or performance.
This message presented by the TSSAA.
Mid-Tennessee Bone and Joint has been the official sports medicine provider for Murray County Schools for more than 40 years. We specialize in orthopedic injuries, and our Ortho Quick walk-in service lets you bypass the ER. Visit us online at www.mtbj.net. Welcome back in Main Street Sports Today, presented by Mid-Tennessee Bone and Joint. If you want a sticker, we have some stickers now. If you want one, let us know at MS_sports today. At MS_sports today. We'll be happy to get you one.
Or more.
Oh, yeah, or 2 or 3 or however many. Mo, I had a little bit of Sunkist left in my cup from earlier, and then I poured some Sun Drop in it. And you know what it tastes like? Ski.
All you needed was a slaw burger, right?
That's, I mean, I'm trying. I really feel like I need to go to Fayetteville now.
Or to Dumas Walkers.
Well, it's probably a little quicker to Fayetteville. It's certainly quicker home from Fayetteville than Dumas Walkers. But yeah, I was like, man, this tastes like ski. This is amazing. So I might be making some homemade ski. It's better than that homemade Sprite I had, just lemons and limes. I was like, there's more to it than that.
So it's funny. Yesterday I went through JP and I were on an assignment up at Spring Hill yesterday evening after the show, and then after that I went through Chicken Salad Chick up in Spring Hill to pick up some chicken salad to take home.
How much else you can get there?
There's nothing else you can get there, to be honest. But they have this strawberry lemonade there, and I get half strawberry lemonade, half Sprite.
That sounds delicious.
Yes, please, yeah.
That sounds like a winner chicken dinner.
Chicken salad dinner.
Oh, come on.
Ding,
God,
ding,
if we
ding,
had some dings, that would just been all.
Where are our dings?
We got to get
Jonathan Paul.
We got to get our dings back. This is no good.
Do you want to know how the sausage is made, or
no? Okay. They're on a memory card that is not in there.
Ding, ding, ding.
They're on a memory card that he is not currently using in the board. He's got a whole. He's got a whole computer over there with nothing but sound effects on it, and he can't even get us any dings.
Here, I'll tell you this though. I have ordered what I used the memory card for a camera for a different event last weekend. I have ordered, and they should be in tomorrow, 2 memory cards dedicated towards those cameras, so I can get back the memory card that has the ding, 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 and leave it in
Where is the camera?
here and there and other places, and
it's
not in your possession at this moment.
no, it's in my possession. It's just it's at the house,
which he doesn't go to every day apparently.
Yes.
Where you been staying, JP?
JP been homeless, sleeping in the Jeep. Yeah. Okay. All right.
Anyway.
All right. Enough about that. No more dings. Sadly.
How about a ding for Gatorade Tennessee Softball Player of the Year, Mo?
Ashton Danley, sophomore from Huntland. Is that right?
Yes, she's committed to Florida State. Yeah.
Yeah. Pitched and hit the Hornets to the state runner-up finish in Class 1A this past spring. 20-4 with an 0.41 ERA, 217 strikeouts and 154 2/3 innings. But that ain't all.
No, she can hit it too.
Yeah, she can. 659, 15 home runs, 45 RBIs, and an OPS that's on base plus slugging, right?
That's correct.
Of 2.114.
Jeez. You got an OPS over 2. You my goodness.
That's how you get to be a Florida State commit.
That's exactly how you get as a maybe 16-year-old, maybe not.
She must be a junior because she is the number 7 prospect in the country in the class of 2023, according to Extra Innings Softball.
Okay. So she is over 16, but at least she can drive. Because if she couldn't and she was hitting like that, I'd just be angry.
Well, she can certainly drive in runs.
If she can't drive a car, she can drive in runs.
That's it. Yeah, so she is eligible for the Gatorade National Softball Player of the Year with this selection, and that is to be announced at some point later this month. And if the timing of Ryan Weathers' announcement is any indication, it's probably the next 10 days or so, because I think I got a story out on him being the Tennessee Player of the Year and barely got it out before he was named the national player. So at any rate, congratulations to Huntland Jr. Ashton Danley, the Gatorade Tennessee Softball Player of the Year.
Mo, real quick, I wanted to just one thing that Tyler had mentioned, and I wanted to get your thoughts on. When you're talking about these indoor track, lacrosse, flag football, non-sanctioned sports, even if there isn't a state championship sanctioned by the TSSAA, it matters if they acknowledge it as a legitimate sport, right? I mean, I just think being recognized by the TSSAA is, I think it matters from that standpoint. Like Bernard was saying, Bernard Childress, the outgoing executive director, was saying when we had him on last week, girls wrestling was sanctioned, was recognized. It was not, they did not sanction a championship until the last few years. They did sanction the rules.
Mm-hmm. And they recognized them, and they had an invitational tournament for some period of time before they actually conducted a state championship, both individually and then a duals championship. So that recognition, like you said, it does mean something. It kind of
not legitimizes, but it gives it some credibility.
It gives it a level of credibility that it doesn't have without that, I think.
I agree.
Yeah.
So hopefully we'll see all of the. I don't see, if you don't have to put on an event for a state championship, it doesn't cost you any money. I don't see any reason why you don't at least recognize it and say, we feel there's value in this sport. And that we're here for,
and in these student athletes,
and we're here for the student athletes, and they want to be a part of these sports. So therefore, we support them.
Yeah.
So there you go. That's all we're asking. Just public support. So all right, one more show to go before I say sayonara. See you later for a week. So we'll get to it tomorrow. We've got Landon Sechrist and of course our weekly guest visit with Jeff Him ahead of fireworks at First Horizon Park. That's all I'm saying. Tonight, 2 games at First Horizon, so go get them if you can. Check them out.
Starting at 5:35. So
5:35, 2 7-inning games. You got time? It's Throwback Thursday.
Depending on where you are, you got time.
You got time to get there before the second one at least. You got 2 games, so just go. You'll get there and see some baseball. It'll be a good time. Enjoy it. We'll be back tomorrow at 2 o'clock, and we appreciate it. If you missed any part of the show, check out the podcast. Obviously, we appreciate that as well. Main Street Sports Today. For JPMO, I'm Chris saying have a great day. We'll talk to you tomorrow.